And when I start talking, you'll know. And welcome back, everyone, to the Mechanics Institute and our coverage of the 2021 U.S. Junior Chess Congress, partnership between the Mechanics Institute and Chess Weekend. I'm Abel Talamantes, chess director at the Mechanics Institute, and joining me, as has been throughout the weekend, three-time U.S. champion, Grandmaster Nick DeFermian, FIDE Master Paul Whitehead, and joining me now is the Chief Tournament Director of this great big event, National TD, Glenn Panner. How's it going, Glenn?
Oh, it's going great. Thanks, Abel, for having me. Hi, Paul. Hi, Nick.
Hello.
And you've been quite busy because we've had close to 900 players, probably over 900 when you account for the side events and everything else going on. It's a lot to manage. You got a staff of like 18 tournament directors over the course of the weekend or something like that. What has it been like just having that collection of talent in the back room in making everything work together?
Well, it's kind of like they say about the sausage being made. It might not always be pretty, but it tastes pretty good at the end. So we do have a great staff, and we've tried doing our best to stay responsive to our customers, giving them plenty of ways to reach us, whether it's Zoom or Slack, or there's no shortage of that. So I think overall we've done an excellent job in running this event.
And that's one thing that some of the viewers who are not part of the event realize is going on separate. There's a whole communications channel with Slack where parents and players can interact and ask questions of the tournament directors, or if something goes wrong, or if someone has a general question. So there's a whole other separate communications channel that's being utilized to kind of help keep communications tight. So there's a lot of things we could ask you, but one of the things going on in the tournament, and like I said, it's an event of 900 players in total. It would be silly not to think that there might not be some issues of fair play. One of the things I spoke about when we talked about fair play issues is, I think what people are coming around to is accepting that sometimes you may not catch something during the event and be able to do something about it, but people are becoming accepting that things get found out and then corrected after. But you've actually been able to take care of some of these issues during the event. Tell us a little bit about that, and or at least what you can, and what is that process?
I mean, that's one of the more important things that we do during this weekend is players have a right to feel as though they're on a level playing field with their opponent, that the games are fair. And that's something that we take very seriously. So, we do have a couple of very strong players on our staff. Myself, I'm about 2,100, so I look over a lot of the games too. Every single game gets reviewed in the course of the fair play review that we submit. So players should know that even if they don't report a game that they think is suspicious, it's still going to be reviewed. It's at times a painful and slow process. We did catch a few players today that were suspicious, and they were removed from the tournament immediately. But the bulk of that comes out in the wash after the event.
And two things with regards to that. In addition to our own suspicions just from our own experience, and then having resources of strong players to be able to look at that. Dr. Ken Reagan does review the games, and he's been so kind and gracious as to take an even faster look at these games than he normally would. He's prioritizing it because of the magnitude of the event. So there's that. But even the players that have suspicion of fair play review and they're removed, there's a whole appeals process that they have available to them that they can do. So it's not as if there's no recourse for
Right.
a player. There is a due process, but as organizers, we have to do everything we can to protect the integrity of the game. So so that's what we do. What we do. So now there's a question in the chat from one of the players. Is that why is currently only a half-point bump the correction that's made in games where someone plays someone that gets removed for fair play? And the remedy right now is to bump them up a half a point. And he's asking why not a full point rather than a half a point?
That is a great question. I was hoping that would get asked. And I'll say some things I probably shouldn't here. So
we do that all the time too. So
Yeah, it's normal here at the Mechanics Institute.
okay, then I'll fit right in. The rule is in the U.S. chess rulebook that if a player is expelled, that their opponent winds up getting, if they lost the game, they get a half point. If they won, or if they drew the game, they get a full point. So like you said, it's an extra half point than what they've given. Now keep in mind, most of the time, cheating isn't uncovered until after the tournament is over. So I would say 90+% of the times we discover cheating, it's through the fair play review. And you think about the impact that a player might have had, if their opponent cheated in round 1 or round 2, they might have gotten the majority of the event with easier pairings, and all of a sudden, someone who is agreeing to a draw in the final round because let's say they had 4 points going in, they're the only 4-pointer, and they take a draw because they think it clinches first, and all of a sudden, someone gets a full point added to them and leaps past them and finishes with 5 points. That's a problem. So we have to look at it through the lens of being fair to all players. In Carlos's case, I absolutely agree that a half point is not optimal, and it's unfair to him. That's a big issue. Unfortunately, the rule is crafted as such that it doesn't give me any wiggle room. Even though I disagree with it, I still have to enforce it in this case.
Right.
I hope that we get changed. I would like to see the wording go that if a player doesn't benefit, let's say if the cheating is caught within 1 round of the occurrence, then the player gets a full point. Or if it happens in the last round of the event, they get a full point. But right now, that's not how the rule is written. So I just can't make up a rule on the spot. As we said, you have to look at through the lens of all of the players. Let's say someone else who finished with 4.5 or 5 points gets bumped down a spot because we add that full point. And they complain and say, hey, Glenn Panner didn't follow the U.S. chess rules on this. I don't really have a way of defending that.
Sure.
The tournament doesn't have a way of defending it. So I really have to go by the rule book on that, even though I think it's personally unfair.
And it's sort of the issue of taking, there's the player affected, right, where the seeing the wrong is obvious, right, the impact on that player. But then there's the taking a step back of the unintended consequences of that ruling and how it could affect other people, like you said, with regards to what they intend to do in the last round, or play a certain way, or maybe take a draw, not take a draw, and then something changes. And I think players don't see that until it actually affects them. But we as organizers, try to see that, and maybe the solution is giving organizers more leeway in terms of how they want to interpret that. Although even that can get a little shaky with some organizers being a little more liberal than they probably should with regards to applying that rule. So it's tough.
I'm a big fan of tournament director discretion. I would love to see at least some wiggle room in the rule, maybe a recommended prescription of action, but not locking us into it. I think there's definitely a valid point to that.
And when you look at an event like this, it you know when you have a case or two of fair play, it's sort of what everyone talks about. It makes it look like it's rampant, but when you have like 2 or 3 issues over the course of this many games, and it being a national event, that's not too bad, especially when it's a national event. And it's just been great that you guys have been able to be on top of it right away and actually handle it during the tournament. That's amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. It's, as we pointed out, a lot of hard work by the staff, and we do our best because it's really for these kids. We want them to have a great experience. And when someone oversteps the rules like that, it really impacts the entire field, not just the player that, not just the player that it happened to.
Yeah, and it's no easy job, especially having to do the follow-up, because especially with a scholastic event, it's not just informing a player or that player dealing with the fact that they're disqualified from the competition, but there's also parents involved and that stuff. And even myself here at Mechanics, along with Judith, we've had to deal with parents and with that whole situation. So there's a whole psychology involved with that. But we're parents ourselves, so we've dealt with issues before, even with my own child, and so it's not unfamiliar territory for a lot of us that are organizers. We've been there, done that in our own personal lives. So now we're doing it with the kids.
It is the worst part of the job, because not only, obviously Carlos and I'm sure his family are rather upset with it, and rightfully so. But breaking the news to the person that violated fair play and his parents, that's not a pleasant thing, because nobody wants to believe that that's something that their child did. And they were quite animated and upset and insisting on their child's innocence. So, we as organizers, as tournament directors, we get yelled at by both sides. So we're kind of stuck in the middle.
Right. And it's like, and I've dealt with issues, and, here we go, sort of being, very revealing and, how we're discussing it. But, I think that's great, because I think too often people avoid the issue, and I've never understood why the big avoidance, unless there was some reason to. But
cheating is a rather shameful activity. Let's face it.
Yeah, but even the governing bodies sort of don't want to talk about it, right? Like U.S. Chess certainly doesn't ever really want to talk about it. And in FIDE, when they talk about it, then it blows up. But there's definitely a psychology, and it takes time, because when we've had issues, by far most of the cases when we've had fair play, you inform the player, you inform the parent, and it actually takes about 3 or 4 days to resolve, because they defend their child usually at first, as any parent would. That then begins the process of investigation and contemplation and thinking about it, and then having follow-up conversations. I've had 2, 3, 4 conversations with parents over the course of 2, 3, 4 days, and it actually takes 2, 3, 4 days, because sometimes it takes time to sink in, right? And then we've had cases where they don't believe it happened, and I tell them, I'm not here to make you admit to something that you didn't do. Right. But, if something happened, the best thing to do is to come out and say it, and, we move forward. Right. And it's tough. Right. Because can we say 100% we're certain. It's difficult to say that of anything, but sometimes we're pretty sure. And as organizers, we just have to make a decision based on the information that we have available for the benefit.
And in a case like this is something that chess.com picked up on really quick. And, they banned the player from their platform. So in a case like that, we don't, even if, let's say that we believed he didn't do anything wrong. And without having all the evidence, I'm not going to say either way, but let's just say that we believed he didn't do any wrongdoing. We're kind of at the mercy of chess.com at that point, because if they say this player is not playing on our platform, they're out.
Well, that's completely out of your hands now, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And that's
And
what
that
happened.
and that raises a whole nother point about USCF reliance on independent platforms.
But they've endorsed the platform. I mean, I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? They've endorsed the chess.com fair play algorithm, right? And
they're probably very happy that chess.com gets the blame instead of them.
but the thing is that we know that chess.com's threshold is very, very high for them to close an account. Like, it has to be very certain from their point of view. And for them to close an account so fast, coupled with our own suspicions, right? I mean, that sort of says something, right? So
Having seen under the hood of what they do there, it's really impressive. They have access to statistics and a review process that a lot of people don't understand. You hear the term algorithm thrown out, all over the place. But I'm not sure that most of the people who hear the word algorithm understands what it means. There's a lot of manual work that goes into this. It's not completely automated. And it's a combination of things that they're looking at, as well as, they do have grandmasters on staff at chess.com that do some of these reviews as well. So it's not just so simple as to say, I was checking my email or I was looking at the feed on Zoom and, I got thrown out for doing that. They can track a lot of things, but
and
it's nothing that simplistic.
And just to answer some of the people in the chat, kids we know, when you're talking about, was a side cam on, trust us when we say the side cam is not like the, in and of itself, the best way to know whether somebody did or didn't. The level of the statistics and what they look at is it's stuff people are not even thinking of if you're not sort of in the business. It's so in depth, and you put all the information together and you make a decision, and that's what's happening. But side view alone, just it's an element of the fair play process. But my gosh, like, there's so many things, and things that I don't know, only because you probably had to do a non-disclosure because it's like so secretive. Because they also don't want people trying to figure ways to, beat the process and things of that nature.
That's exactly why chess.com is so secretive about it, is they're worried that if they, and I disagree with them on this too. I think every player is, has that right to due process and should be told, hey, you know what? We caught you, making Stockfish matching 100% to Stockfish. This is not, you're not Stockfish. The chances of this happening are not going to happen. But they refuse to tell people. And that part, I get where they're coming from, in that they need to protect their secret sauce and they don't want people adjusting for what they do. But at the same time, I think they do have to be open about what someone is accused of.
And I think only because, they didn't anticipate all of this with what the reliance that we've had to be on online play. I think as we move forward, they may have to do that just to people to have faith. But I don't think people need to be so secretive about it anymore. I mean, I think
Also,
yeah.
I was going to say also, even if these people are caught, like, on camera, completely cheating, they're still going to deny it. And so, what,
Yes.
and that's been proven over and over and over again. So, the people will just go as far as they can and to drag you down with them, I think.
And fortunately, at least my experience, and I don't know about yours, Glenn, and our experience here at Mechanics, we haven't really had that where we had someone just like go to the end of the earth completely, or at least in a case where we were confident, right? Haven't had that. We've had it quite a few times where in the beginning there was that, but then over the process of communication over several days, we sort of, now we're sort of just looking at the facts and what might happen and have a discussion with your child and things of that nature. The one I love is we had one parent who was like a computer expert said, tell me what to look for because I can go into the logs and see what website and what, look up, Stockfish and all of this stuff. But it's difficult. And
that's the rabbit hole I'm talking about.
And like Glenn said, it's like, you don't look like the hero from either side, right? Either you didn't do enough or, you're doing too much, and it's tough. Anyway, Glenn, I know you got a lot of things going on, but anything you'd like to say about anything before we get back to the games and before you get back to all the work?
No, I have a last round to start in about 5 minutes.
That's right, and Judith's in the chat telling everyone get out of the Twitch and get to your games. So
that was just me. She was telling that too, but
she's telling you.
No, I'll if I have some time, I'll be glad to hop back on.
No, and, at the end of the event,
a little bit more.
Actually, I would love to have you, Judith, Merritt, if she's free, and whoever else hop in after the event because we should do a little team. Show some of the team on the broadcast because you and everyone behind the scenes made a great event happen for these kids and a great experience for by far most, and so much work goes into it. And hats off to you because you're the one that has to deal with some of the hard decisions, and it's not an easy job. But thank you for doing it, and thanks to the rest of the amazing team behind the scenes.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll
question,
see you
Glenn. When's your next big event?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. So we're going to be celebrating the return to Over the Board Chess in Las Vegas at the National Open, June 16th through 20th. Right now, we're still working on a lot of the provisions to make people feel comfortable and feel safe. We understand that the pandemic isn't over yet, and we're going to really put a lot of great protocols into play. But this is going to be the first really large, or potentially the only large, in-person event this summer with a $100,000 prize fund. And if you've ever gone to the National Open before in Las Vegas, I believe GM Defermian, you've been there many times, right?
And we were talking in between one of the breaks. I think Nick might be making it over this year, and Paul's thinking about it.
Surprise guests from San Francisco.
And
I would love that.
And they were talking me into it, so we may wind up there, and Paul and I may just start streaming the event since we're there. Just start commenting on some of the games.
Well, I would like to play too, so that would be one of the reasons to go.
I would love it.
I think it's going to be a great event. I mean, there's chances for norms for the top players. There's a lot of different sections. It's going to be good just to be playing and seeing your friends and playing face to face again.
And sort of,
Amen.
And it seems sort of the mood that's sort of developing in several of the people that I've talked to about the National Open is that they're seeing this as sort of like the definitive mark of the return of like fun, over the board, real chess. And, I think you should market it that way, because I think that feeling is what people are feeling. Like the National Open, that is the one where, you know, we're back, we're coming back, and
Yeah, we're hoping to celebrate in style. I mean, as I said, we're making sure that we're doing a lot of things. You know, there's only going to be one game per table, so we are going to very much social distance. We're working with the hotel. We're expecting to be, you know, we provide all the boards and sets for the event, which is handy when you're doing an event during the pandemic like this, because we'll have the hotel come in between every round, and they have a fogger of disinfectant, and they're going to spray down the entire room,
oh wow,
including the boards and sets. So there's going to be a lot of, and that's just a fraction of the different things we're going to do to make people feel comfortable.
well that's pretty exciting, and I know the mechanics community is real deep in National Open, and a lot of our players go and participate, and we'll be pumping it up for you, and hope to see a lot of them, and maybe some of us right here on the broadcast over there in Las
I
Vegas.
hope so.
All right,
I hope
Glenn.
so.
you
Okay,
got
I'm going to
2
head
minutes.
back, and I'll come join you again later if I
Yeah,
get a chance.
absolutely. And bring as many people as you can. Glenn Panner, Chief TD of the 2021 U.S. Junior Chess Congress and of Chess Weekend. Thanks. We'll see you in a
Thanks.
bit.
Bye, Glenn.
All right. There you have it. And that is probably represents one of the most, and I'll fix all the windows, one of the more honest conversations regarding fair play that you've probably ever heard, because usually it's something to be avoided, but I don't think you can avoid that anymore. And I think the chess public benefits from a conversation, because I think when the chess public feels that they're part of that conversation, I think good things happen, because, you know, when there's like a shroud of secrecy over it, it just makes it even more difficult. I mean, I get the reasoning behind that, but I think now that we're online play is such a big thing, you can't, you know, you got to talk about it or not. What do you think?
Oh, definitely, definitely. It just be straightforward. You know, the denying parents, just tell them, here's the evidence. And the people who say, like Carlos, it's not fair, explain the situation. I mean, everybody's just trying.
Yeah,
You and
and,
Glenn are trying so hard.
you know, and you know, I'm sure the parents of they understand, they get it. I mean, but they got to vent, right? They have to express that frustration, because, you know, it does feel like an injustice, right? So, you know, but I think by talking about it, you at least acknowledge that, you know, there's something that needs discussion and maybe further taking a look at. But no, I'm glad we're doing it, and I mean, I'm glad we're doing it, Mechanics and Chess Weekend. But you know, I hope more organizers do it, and whatever platform you use, you know, we should have these discussions. And let me just say one thing too, you know, because we also don't want to presume, you know, that everyone that gets caught for fair play, that, you know, it for sure is cheating, and there's no there is a recourse, and there is appeal, and there is a challenge, right? So there is a way to go about, you know, appealing or challenging. So it's not like, you know, we decide the account's closed, and, you know, that is the absolute end of story. Now, when chess.com closes an account, I mean, that's completely out of the organizer's hands, right? Because now there's nothing we can do in terms of, you know, chess.com closes the account. You know, one of the conditions of participating in the event is that you have a valid account. So now that becomes a chess.com issue that a player or parent has to take up with them directly. It's not even, it's completely out of our hands. So, all right, let's get to the games now that we've kicked around fair play for a while, because the rounds are starting. The final round for the under 12 and under and 14 and under But the final round for the 16 and 18 and under has started, and this is the big game of the top section, because in this game here, Terry Luo with 4.5 points is playing Elijah Platnick, who is the only player with 5 points who has black. So this is Terry's opportunity. If White can win this game, White would have a share of first at the very least, because on board 2, Brajesh Chakrabarti also has 4.5 points. But I think Terry's got to like his tiebreak chances if he's able to beat the top player so far. But to me, this position looks very complex. So the GM and the FM, what do you think of this position? Black is the perfect score right now in this section.
I just agree with you that it's complex. Looking at some lines, and chances to me seem to be about even, but it's in no way drawish. There's the imbalanced pawn structure, the bishop versus knight, that nice post on c5. So I don't know. I'd be happy enough with White that I have my chance to try to win the tournament.
So
It's been a tough, hard-fought contest, this game, as we've watched it unfold.
I mean,
sure.
Both of them have to be thinking that if I can win this game, I'm probably going to be champion. And you look at the time is sort of equal, and like all the heart and soul is going into this game, right? After 2 days, it's all coming down to this last hour. I'm trying to build it up like a monster movie, right?
Well, it's nice to think one of these players is the champion.
This game sort of does remind me of King Kong versus Godzilla, now that you mention it,
And the other player that has a stake in this is Kochi 222, and that is this game here, because Kochi's at 4.5, and Kochi can still get a share first if he's able to win this game, and that is black. But Nighthawk is trying to have something to say about it. How does it look here in this game?
Kochi's doing great.
Something went wrong for Nighthawk.
And Nighthawk using a lot of time.
Something went wrong early, and he's in a bit of trouble. So never got to castle.
Yep, this is going very well for black.
And from black's perspective, they're sort of sitting here thinking, all right, this is where I want to be. How do I...
The D pawn is extremely vulnerable, probably lost. Black can keep the king in the center, maybe with a queen b5 check at some point. If black plays rook d8 or something, it's going to be serious trouble for white.
And Nighthawk, is he also got 4.5 points?
No, he's only got 4.
Okay.
So Kochi's the one that still has a shot at first. And that's all depending on the tie breaks. But let's switch over, because we have championship games across 3 sections. And in the 14 and under section, Crazy Hill Check. And I'm trying to find that. I need to pull that up. Crazy Hill Check is the top seed in the 14 and under, playing white against Benjamin Lauer. So it's a 22.53 against a 19.40. And let me pull that up. They are perfect scores in the 14 and under, and here is the game.
Are they the only perfect scores?
No, there's four players with perfect scores, and they're playing each other.
Okay.
This is one of the games. What do you think?
Extra pawn for white.
Yeah, black, something happened. Black blundered a pawn or something on F5, maybe.
Let's take a look.
Oh, and what a pawn to blunder.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
that was a straight up blunder, right?
Yeah, now, yeah, I mean, it's been hanging for a couple of moves. I'm not sure. Black, yeah, what very odd. Some odd things here, but that's chess.
Yeah. And the other game here of perfect scores in the 14 and under is right here with Nitish Nathan, Breathe Chess Always against Sanjay Selvam. So those are the two games of perfect scores facing off against one another in the 14 and under section.
yeah, another sort of London or collar system. But white's got the knight on E5. A little bit of a grip there.
Yeah. Yeah, white looks like a little bit of a grip.
And we're going to take a look at the 12 and under section. And we actually have four boards of players with perfect scores on them. So let me find one of them.
So if I'm black in this game, I maybe 98 and F5 or something. If I'm allowed to play it.
Whoops.
Yeah, good defensively. Get one of those black kingside pawns in the defense.
Oh. Wow, look at this. Interesting.
I was switching over to one of the top boards. That's on one of the other boards. But here's one of the games from the 12 and under of perfect score. Sean Kelly, Slow Cynical Quip, is playing Leah Egel, who is white, Og Monster. Perfect scores in the 12 and under.
Oh. Got to see what happens here, but I mean, I don't think the chances look somewhat balanced.
Yeah, maybe take that bishop on B3 before it runs away. Play pawn to A6. That's,
Mm-hmm.
And Dry C TV finished 3 out of 6 in the 16 and 18 and under. That's actually not too bad if you're rated 828 to have a even score in that section. So you should be proud. Hang your head high. Congratulations, because there's some strong players in that section. Let me go to another game of perfect scores in the 12 and under section. DG Wizard, rated 1958 against Bored to Death, 1417.
Well, white's trying not to bore black to death here. Whew.
Or just bring death. And glad you enjoyed the commentary.
So the threat is bishop g7 check and queen g5. What's black gonna do?
Gotta try rook to g8.
And then can't white just take the slow route with rook to g1 or something?
Yeah, I suppose. Rook to g1. Oh, and bishop f8 doesn't work. Just take it in queen h6. So, rook g8, rook g1. Is there any way out? Something
I
like
mean, on rook g8, can't white play bishop g7 check, rook g7, and then queen h6 check, knight h7, take it, play queen f6 check, and then rook over to g1.
that's very good. Yeah.
Also, the
quite
rook
a
is
knockout.
hanging on c8. Rook g8, bishop takes c8.
DG Wizard.
Okay.
That is it. That is
Yeah.
it.
Bored to death got destroyed.
So congratulations, perfect score for DG Wizard, which is Darren Goktepe in the
Yeah.
12 and under. XL Swimmer is also a perfect score, playing Lulu Huang. So let's pull that up. But wow, what a quick win there. Find that game and pull it up. Excel. And that is here. XL Swimmer, who is Matthew Gao against Lulu Huang. 1921 is white against 1414. ETHS members at high school, put it in the chat. Give the classmates a shout out. Yeah. What high school? Just Sasson 7080.
So what if white brings the other rook and castles here? I guess b4 and then maybe rook g1.
And take the knight on c3.
Queen g2. Oh, I see. You've got queen f6.
Hanging on.
Take for, yeah. Yeah, the queen on, yeah. Black can also throw in a piece on g4 if necessary.
Hey guys.
So maybe
Yeah, go ahead.
knight e2, castles b4, knight e2. Maybe that's, yeah, not clear, huh, Nick?
Well, bishop h6 may win something. Start right away with the threat of rook g1.
There you go.
Hey, check this position out in the age 14 and under Crazy Hill check and Bongo Man.
Oh, Bongo Man. I just love that name.
Maybe Bongo Man used to play chess at the Student Union building in Berkeley.
Banging those bongos, yeah. Wow, look at that. Ugh.
Nice finish.
Nice finish. Look at-
Hilarious checkmate at the end, almost hilarious.
And Crazy Hill check, Hirsch Singh, 2253, the top rated player in the section, finishes perfect, 5 out of 5. Is waiting the result of Nitish Nathan and Sanjay Selvam. These are the other two players with perfect scores. And
Well, this is a 24-23 rapid rating on chess.com. Pretty strong player.
And nothing would make Crazy Hill Check happier than a gentleman draw right here. So he would take Sol first, but somebody here has to win now because we have a perfect score already. So they got
Well, this looks like a game that somebody will win.
And as this one, we'll keep an eye on this one, but let's go back to the top board in the top section because Elijah Platnick is trying to go wire to wire, perfect all the way through. But he's got this challenge from the top seed, Terry Luo.
Oh, Elijah's put all his pieces on really good squares.
Yeah, now maybe Blacks wants to play take on c5 and play rook d2 or something at the right moment, of course. Only if it's a good move.
Maybe white can go pawn to a4 here. There might be a knight to d2 check. And then don't want to draw with white, king e3, knight c4, check, king f3.
What if you go back to g2?
A4, knight d2, check, king g2. Okay, and we take the pawn on a4 then, that the knight on c4 is not hanging.
I guess white just takes back.
Okay, that's playable. No advantage, but playable. Very hard to see how white can make progress.
Very tough. Taking a look at this game from the top section also, Sriram Krishnakumar is taking on Chloe Gaw, King Hunter. Oh, and a result already, Ryan Cheung defeated Rohan Rajaram, who had 4 points. So, and Kevin Zhu beat Noah Zhu, hopefully not related. But even if they were, they can play each other. So there's players with 5 points, 5 out of 6 in the top section already.
King Hunter is getting his goose cooked here.
Or her goose.
Her goose
Chloe
cooked.
Gaw. Let's check in on Kochi. Wow.
I'm not sure why white plays g5, but the pawn is hanging, I guess. It's a good reason.
This is tough.
King f1.
You got to run.
You know,
Is he thinking king e1 would give him some chops on that pin? I don't think so.
Black has to be careful here too. Clearly. King f1, rook d8, I guess, right, Nick? King f1, rook d8.
Yes, the rook on d8 just makes that knight on d4 more powerful. Oh, I would have just gotten out of dodge if I were white. Run as far away as I could with that white king.
So what about bishop h6 now and then queen c4? Oh, white can play rook d4? That's no good.
Um, White could
Threatens
play
queen
rook.
e2 mate.
You could play rook to d2, stopping checkmate.
Yeah.
Okay, rook d8 is a very normal kind of move. Just safe.
Keep pressure. Hey, check out this position in the 12 and under section, XL swimmer.
Oh, what was that? Just taking the pawn on h4. That's, I mean, all right, read is all right, but
Now black is busted.
that's giving a piece. Take on, I don't know, take on g4 or take on g7.
Might as well take on g4.
Pawn takes back. It's not enough for a piece. Or
Well, there's always the hope that white will get confused. Doesn't look like that, though. This pawn on g4 is not going to last long either.
yeah,
Moving back to the top board in the top section.
With some tough games, but as usual, a lot of the times we see this, like the games played earlier in the day are kind of very hard fought, and then there's a lot of unraveling that happens in the last round.
That's a long day. It's a long day for people.
Yeah, it gets to be a long day.
but this championship game is a really well played battle.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you would expect out of everything on the line. Nothing looks completely crazy.
So knight d2 check is the saving, the sort of the well, not the saving move, but it's a nice active move.
Lauren Goodkind is in the chat.
Hello, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren. Do you have any students playing the chess congress? Always fun to have Lauren drop in. Let's check Slow Cynical Quip. See what Sean Kelly is doing. This is the age 12 and under section. Oh, she's got one of her students playing. And Sriram did win that game against King Hunter. So Sriram, 4.5. Oh, is Elijah a Chicago area player? On the top, from the top board.
No, well, we can see that.
Elijah Platnick, and underrated. And
Yeah.
Glenn's saying he's underrated, and he's rated, 2,000. So.
Well, he's played very good chess
Yeah.
in this tournament.
Yeah, tough game. And look at the time. The time is equal. Back to from the 14
Not
and
so
under,
easy, this game.
14 and under section. Nitish Nathan and Sanjay Selvam. In this section, we already have a perfect score with Hirsch Singh. So these players are looking to win and then have a shot at the tiebreak for first.
White seems to be doing well here, but
Yeah,
Black can play bishop a6 at some point.
97's a good move. Yeah, then you can go bishop a6, right off your bad bishop, holding the king side squares. Would knight g5 be a move?
Yeah, look at that, knight g5.
Or
Evanston is where Elijah's from. Merritt's neighborhood. Merritt's at Evanston. Sriram, nice win. Final round.
I don't know Chicago at all. I spent one night overnight in a hotel room there and never saw the city at all.
So did I. I spent only one night overnight when I went to Wisconsin for the U.S. Open.
I was supposed to make an Amtrak connection and I missed it. And so in Chicago, and I had to spend the night in Chicago in a hotel room. They put me up.
That's when you were somebody. Just where you get accommodations.
No, it had nothing to do with chess at all,
Oh, is that right?
actually.
Back to Kochi 222. And this blistering attack looks like they traded out bishops.
Queen e5.
it looks so difficult for white.
Yeah. Black just has to take that, get, not fall for some cheapo.
And in another game, we have a result. XL Swimmer gets it done. Matthew Gao in the 12 and under section. So Matthew at 5 out of 5 also. So we have two players with 5 in the 12 and under section.
This was a quick finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. White didn't even castle. So here's
And Black wishes he hadn't. Or
So-
she.
both of these players here are 4 out of 4 also in the 12 and under. So they're trying to join two other players.
Did Black lose a pawn on the queen side? Maybe not.
Pawns are even.
So you like the knight or the bishop in this position?
I think I like the knight, but it depends on what goes on the queen side. If White can get these, yeah, must be better for Black, huh, Nick?
Yeah, just you can do checks and things, or rook c3 first, pawn to b4, rook c1 check, and you pick up a pawn. I'm not sure.
I mean, ideal for White is being able to play b4 and bishop c5 or something like that.
Yeah,
So maybe it's not so bad.
maybe, yeah, White's holding. It's e4, rook c1 check, rook e1. If you trade, the bishop guards the b4 pawn from e1.
What about Black playing down to the 7th rank and playing g5 and knight f4 or something horrible like that?
Oh, that looks pretty nice.
I like giving myself about 6 moves and my opponent no moves. That way I can figure out how to win the game.
See the future, huh? Let me jump back to the top board. Oh. Wow, we're going end game here.
Oh, Oh, trading everything.
Well,
But
now black has to force white to play a5 and then come up and take the, maybe this is no longer a win or no longer better for black.
yeah, this those black is okay, but black could win one of those pawns on that side.
I'm going to jump over to the top board again. I'll keep an eye on this game. Here we have it.
Championship game. They're both playing so well.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's funny because the time, like the players are using their time equally.
I think it's time for black to maybe think about taking this knight at c5. White's playing a very good game.
This is master level chess right here.
And it's so different from the other games where there's all sorts of wild action. Here, both players are covering everything, defending everything.
It's like they're waiting to see which one of them blinks first, right?
Yeah.
And there's even some stuff that can happen on the king side, of course.
Yeah, wow. Let me check in on Nathan, and Sanjay Selvam here. They
Tense
are
game.
14 and under section.
Black took on e5 with the bishop, and white took back with a pawn.
Somehow there should be a bit of trouble on that F file in the future.
I mean, I like even playing bishop d3 and bishop f5 if I can get away with it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Go for the good knight against the bad bishop.
Yeah, and still can retain kingside attacking chances.
I like your move, bishop g3.
And Sanjay, 6.5 minutes. Gotta watch that time.
Bishop d3 makes sense in a lot of ways anyway.
Let's do a check-in on Slow Cynical Quips game and Og Monster.
So we've been invited out to Chicago, but not during the winter.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Unless you want to make like Snow Angels or something.
So is it just this easy? Black forces a5. Maybe white should have thought about playing b5 and liquidating the pawns on the queen side.
Sadly, this is just lost.
Yeah, this is just losing.
Yeah.
That's an elementary mistake here that just happened. White needed to give up the pawn on the queen side by playing b5. Taking both pawns off the board.
Yeah. Well, so we'll keep an eye on that, but it looks like Slow Cynical Quip is making things happen. Back to this, it looks like Kochi 222 has relieved Nighthawk of a rook.
Oh, wow. Well, that's...
And now forces the trade of queens, and this game is over.
Yeah.
And Kochi has a shot at first place still because depending on the result of the game on the top board that we are going to go back to now,
Yeah.
Kochi could still could tie because Kochi now has 5.5, if I am not mistaken, 5.5. Yep.
And so would Elijah Platnick if it's a draw.
Yes, and but even if Elijah lost, then he would be tied with Terry Luo, who would then have 5.5 by beating Elijah. But if Elijah draws, yeah, then Rajesh Chakrabarti would tie. A lot riding on this game.
King E7 is a cool looking move.
So if we play rook a6, I mean, we're trying to get some threats.
Like 95 or something.
Yeah.
Or taking on F5 and then playing at night. Maybe black should have taken on G4, but then that leaves H6 as a target.
Yeah, you condemn yourself to being worse, a little worse if you take on G4.
So what should black have done there, Nick? Looked like a critical position almost for black. D2 check again. Keep trying that thing. Inviting the
Yeah,
king.
or maybe there's rook a6. I don't know. Maybe you go rook d6. Not sure there's anything that's solid for white yet. Just trying to build things up.
Following up on the cynical quip. Yep, this is pretty as expected, yeah.
Yeah.
Breathe chess always. Jump to that from the 14 and under section.
Okay, he took on f5 as Paul wanted him to. So people are listening to you, Paul.
Yeah, I hope not. Well, maybe taking on F5 was not necessary right away. And now H4 blocks it up even more. I'm not sure about that either. I would have, well, now white just has to play a king march into H6. Actually, white can comfortably play his king up to F4 and then wait to see what happens. Try to trade queens or something. Queen G5.
Oh, there's a plan. King to f4. Gotta like that.
And then Queen G3, Queen G5. I don't know where you go, where it's going. Black can just put his king on G7 after the queen trade. So, I don't know, Nick.
Well, it's definitely nicer to have white than it is to have black.
And Sean Kelly gets it done. Slow cynical quip. Perfect in the 12 and under section.
Congratulations. Black is not going to stand still. We're getting a real fight on our hands here.
And there was another player in the 12 and under section that was perfect, but he's going up against Carlos Varela, who is infamous at this point, and it looks like Carlos is gonna get it done here,
Oh yeah.
and that would mean Carlos would finish at 4.5 with that half point. No, we know where that came from.
Right.
And we'll see how all that plays out. But wanted to give Carlos Varela his props for an outstanding tournament. I don't know what else you can say, but
As long as you yourself show good sportsmanship, then everything else will fall in place.
it'll fall into place over time. And
Over time.
you know, all you can do is what you can do. But yeah,
You cannot control your opponent's behavior.
and going back, top board, top section. You know, we see the tension in this game, and then, you know, slowly some material comes off, and then it's like you're peeling away the apple, right? The skins of the apple or the orange.
Yeah, this is like some titanic, old school battle between two heavyweights.
Yeah.
You usually throw names in there. Give us some names. It's like who and who.
Oh, like some Lasker Schlechter game or something like that.
Paul selling his newsletter article there.
Yeah, I had fun with that actually, the Lasker Schlechter match, looking at those games. They're really tough games. Oh my gosh. Incredibly trench warfare chess, I mean,
I thought you were gonna say it's like watching Jerry Simpkins against.
yeah. Against Guido.
Against Guido.
What happened to Guido?
I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Okay.
Is that supposed to be Monster Hunter? Congrats on that win. Won his game in the chat.
Yeah, we have a lot of players to welcome back into the club when we see them. People who don't play online. It'll be good to see some old friends again.
Back to the game. Breathe chess always.
Black counterattacks. Down the B file.
That knight looks pretty strong for white, huh?
Yeah, right now black is, on the edge of a precipice.
When Paul says that, right? Somebody's on the verge of walking a plank. This is tough, right? I mean, Queen H6 and then Knight G5 and.
Well, Queen H6 can be met by Queen F8.
Oh, it's black's move anyway.
Just move. You gotta move, Sanjay.
C4. Oh, it's Sanjay at minute 22.
There's no real breakthrough for white this way.
Yeah, C4 is actually kind of an interesting move, huh?
You figure you're going to get that B2 pawn eventually, and
for the A5, but you don't want the white rook coming down on the A file, right?
yeah.
Is
So
black gonna have enough time to just march? I don't know.
Queen D8 maybe for black, sort of keeping an eye on the A5 pawn. Meanwhile, white's got moves like pawn to E6 and,
Well, why not bishop to d7?
Yeah.
Shut these down.
Let me flip back to the top board really quick.
Knight g5 doesn't look very effective.
Elijah Platnik is under 6 minutes, and this is the position.
Elijah with the perfect score. But,
Yeah.
how is he defending that f pawn? Does he have to go knight to d6?
Allowing knight e5.
Knight e5. And where does that rook go? It doesn't have a good square. Yeah, this pressure slowly building.
And congrats,
Beautiful game by White so far.
congrats to Carlos Varela. Won his game 4.5 out of 5.
Must have an answer to knight e5. I don't know what it is. Rook g1, rook h6.
Whoops. Let me get back to that game.
Oh yeah. Stunning garbage.
Stunning garbage. The name of the tournament.
Oh, knight e5 is powerful.
Yeah.
Rook f6, knight d7's a fork. So, wow, losing a critical pawn and letting the white rook in. Oh, though, rook to g1. Oh, not that move. Rook g1, rook h6, bishop c5, pawn takes c5,
Oh,
knight
wow.
e4.
Look at that.
Oh, this is a horrible mistake.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that. Oh. You're forking the rook and the bishop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Powerful game by White.
Yeah, those knights are just strong.
Wow, suddenly it's over. You gave up a bishop. What's the plan?
I mean, just good old fashioned, just missed it, I think.
Yeah, I think just falling apart here in a lost position anyway.
Because it's not like the knight can do something threatening to, capture on b6 with the rook.
Yeah.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah, that was
For
bad.
Elijah.
I think Black should have, a long time ago, should have played bishop takes c5 and then would have avoided knight takes b6 later on in the game. Of course, that's hindsight. I don't even see how Black has anything cheap at all here. The pawns are going to
Bad
start
day.
falling.
When you can't even be cheap, it's a bad day.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't be cheap, what else is there? Right? Oh. Yeah, it's just like unraveling.
Everything's falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Terry Luo converts this, he will be tied with Brijesh Chakrabarty with 5.5.
Right.
And then the tie breaks will tell the tale.
Yeah, Elijah Platnik had a great tournament in just this one game. Couple of moves.
Yeah, that's all it takes, and that's the thing about 6 rounds over 2 days is keeping it consistent and solid throughout.
He fought so well, so long.
Well, you know,
Well, let's go to Breathe Chess Always, and I'll keep an eye on that game. But I mean, White is just picking off pieces all over the place in that game.
yeah, it's
And
hopeless.
Sanjay under 20 seconds in his game.
Well, Black's putting up resistance here. Got to watch out for
Oh,
the
oh, that was a
oh,
mistake.
wow. That's yeah.
King needed to go to H7s.
Yeah, White picks up the pawn for free now.
And Terry Luo has won on board one, defeats Elijah Platnick, and ties for first with Rajesh Chakrabarty at 5.5
Well,
out of
congratulations.
6. Congratulations. So the tie breaks will tell the tale of who takes first. But what a game, and a tough loss for Elijah, who played some great chess. Got some fortunate bounces, but it's tough. I mean, he's going to the last round having to play the overall top seed, and you know, that's a tall order. But kudos to Terry, who won a technical game and got it done.
Maybe Black should have played A3 in that position. No, that would have been bad too. Trying for H5 and then X on the F5 pawn. Black has got to be just.
Well, the knight's been kicked. I'm not sure H5 was so good.
Yeah, not there. I agree. I mean, obviously, Black's intention was to do this.
But
Very
it's
odd.
in that situation, you're winning the game, your opponent's low on time, and you rush yourself.
And now, if the knight moves, queen takes e6, and Black is in the game. Very much in the game.
Oh, and it's turning around.
Knight g3 can just be met by bishop d7, I guess. Still, Black's rooks are looking funny on the A file. White doesn't really have any plan here. Knight g3 and knight f5, knight f5, but that's just not going to be end up very well.
And now time creeping down for Breathe Chess. Ooh.
Why queen d6?
Ooh.
Odd move.
Ouch, that check is a good check. Oh, you didn't really want to take that.
Oh, wow.
Ah,
Oh, my
Nice.
goodness. Wow. What a way to end.
The attacker,
Oh,
wow.
my gosh. Arthur Braden's in the chat. Ouch. Is right.
Nerves. Last round nerves.
And let's just take a look at that last sequence again. And time, right? Under 20 seconds. Takes, threatening mate. Had to play something like rook g8.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, just Black walked right into all this, I think.
And then just took like an automatic take, and Nitish quick threw the mate in there. Wow, congratulations. So now Nitish Nathan in the 14 and under section, perfect. 5 out of 5 ties with Harsh Singh, who is also 5 out of 5, and we're gonna see how the tie breaks play out. And the tie breaks, I think, are gonna be pretty close there. It's gonna be close. So we'll keep an eye on that. Wow, that is. I gotta check this game. There are other games still going, but I want to see the end of this. Oh, it was a draw by agreement with Piano, Jaden, and Greenline. Out of my own curiosity, is this?
How did they, I mean, somebody's a bishop up. Why the draw?
They drew by agreement. I think Black took the draw, and let me see if I can guess why. I have a feeling I know why. I'm gonna take a look and see if I can confirm it. My guess is that they're tired and they're much lower rated than Jaden, and I'm right because Jaden is like 1750. And the opponent was 1257, and I think to them draw looked good. 21 seconds left on the clock, but in this position, I mean, all you got to do is take the pawn to force a draw. So why not just play on, right?
Yes, unless you forget to look at your clock.
So some games still going on, but we have a game in the top session. We got to look at Stunning Garbage, who again is under 20 seconds left.
Yeah, bishop f3 wins right away for Black, right?
Maybe he didn't want to try that mate with two bishops.
Right.
Well, even at 1200 level, you should be able to do that, right? Thank you for checking in on us, Arthur. Yeah, I think Lauren was in shock of the Nitish Nathan game.
Black is close to a knockout here.
That's attack 10-10. That's a Rohil Bose against Sheena Zheng, Stunning Garbage. Sheena Zheng.
Maybe just pawn to b5. Stunning Garbage is the handle of the evening of the tournament, actually.
That's the best one. And actually, that's one I haven't seen. At least for me, a new player that I haven't seen. Fantastic handle. Stunning Garbage.
It's my hope one day to play some Stunning Garbage, you know? Black should throw in b5 to avoid losing that pawn down there, I think.
As if...
Or maybe bishop e3. Maybe it's time for bishop e3.
So there's a question in the chat, which is a great question. If you have 96% accuracy, will that be counted as cheating? Accuracy percentage alone does not signal cheating, just because it's entirely possible for someone to just play a book opening and then the continuation plays out, and you're, so the accuracy alone will not trigger a cheating. And to be honest with you, even like a 98% alone will not trigger cheating. It's a combination of other factors. So
That is a hilarious thing. A 3-move game. Yeah, right. So if you play the fool's mate against somebody, they can claim you were cheating because you played with 100% accuracy.
And they get forfeited, so you win.
Right, exactly.
Right. Perfect.
I mean, I've played a game online. I played a game online where I had like 97%, and I'm thinking like, how did I do that? Like, I don't. I mean, I can't. I've never taken a test where I got 97%, much less play a game of chess like that. But yeah, so the short answer is no. And thank you, Lauren, for reminding your students that that is a no-no. Very important because I mean it starts with the coaches too. And
Black gets a key pawn here at B2 after trading queens.
Yeah, this is
And that probably is enough to win, right? Maybe?
should be, yes.
Should be. Yeah.
and just take a look at this ending in another game here. Adve Bansal playing black against Sefer Goldsfidi. Uh-oh. Oh, what a move. Look at that.
Well, I think
Oh.
White was in some serious trouble anyway. White can stop this D pawn only at the cost of the rook.
Yeah, rook with rook d3 and then king e2.
Yeah.
It'll cost you. Let's go back to stunning garbage.
Stunning garbage. Yeah.
You can never get enough of that.
Oh, didn't take that pawn. Now this isn't that easy.
Was afraid of Mr. Braden's G5, but why? I don't know why.
It was a little tricky, but yeah, I mean, a pawn is a pawn.
See, that's what I like about grandmasters. They really sum it up for you, you know?
All these
Very,
deep,
very casual.
you know.
A pawn is a pawn.
Pawn is a pawn is a pawn.
I could not have said that better. So shouldn't Black have played bishop e5 and then king e6? Isn't this letting the rook in somehow?
Yeah, probably 90, rook f6, 95.
Yeah. Still, the knight and the bishop are covering everything, and the king. It's a little scary. But Black, the players have seconds left now. So
Yeah,
it's.
Oh, this move to, that's,
Now the bishop goes to d4.
Oh,
well, now this rook is,
oh.
can win this. That he takes the
Oh, that's a risky move, yeah.
A pawn, but, oh, nice, he guards that, but
No fear.
Wow.
No fear.
And now the time is equal.
who knows what's
It's that
happening.
move pawn a5 that impresses me the most, as though it was all planned out.
Oh my gosh.
Is Black just invading here without worrying? about his own G pawn?
Yeah, rook to c6. I think it's one check too many.
You gotta watch out for repetition. A draw was declined. White offered a draw, was declined.
Why not king d3? Was there a reason? You can take on h4 with the knight, defending the pawn at g6. I don't think black had any problem there, really.
A4. Arthur Braden's trying to. What's going on in this game here?
Who should be playing a4? Either player, maybe.
Anyone should play.
I think this is the correct thing for white. Keep the rook on the 6th rank and eyeing that pawn. These checks on the side gave black the chance to play knight f3 and knight h4, which he didn't do.
And then black offered a draw, and it was accepted. Wow.
Oh, boy.
I think it got a little scary for the
battle.
players. It got a little.
It got scary. It was scary.
And we're waiting
Well
on
played.
final results to be posted. I mean, there's still wow, and I think we have final results. We have final results. Well, tentative results. Tentative final results. In a section. Let me wait for the 12 and under before we go to that. But what a tournament! Still a couple of games going. I think in the 14 and under. Let me see here. No, 14's done. The 12 and under. I think they're just verifying. It looks like all the games are done in the 12 and under. So they're just verifying the results. What about the top section? All the games are done. I think all the games are done in all sections. So now it's just the review process. And,
Wow. Congratulations to everybody involved.
Wow. Let's see. Yeah, unbelievable. The tournament and how many games and incredible final round. It was nice to see the players sort of buckle down and really put forth their best game for the final round and use time and was technical for the most part, but I think we also saw that when the players buckled down, used their time and got technical, the stronger players sort of rose up and showed why their rating is what it was. And so congratulations. So now we're waiting on tie breaks to reveal winners, reveal what happened.
What an event.
And let me see. I'm going to create a window so that we can do the results when they come. Actually, let me see. Do you see that?
I just thought of something you could do sitting there, Abel, with the, you could make two windows, one with the results and the other with the Twitch broadcast, right?
I am doing that very thing right now.
So that you could have both simultaneously
And
showing.
here we go. Well, you don't see it, but I see it, and I'm cutting it out. So you can basically see the Google Sheet.
Right.
And all right, I think we could just show this. To be honest with you, here we go. and transition. So this is the 14 and under section. You should see it up pretty soon. And it looks like tentative results pending fair play review. It looks like Hirsch Singh barely gets the tiebreak over Nitish Nathan by a half point on the median tiebreak. 5 out of 5. Both players did all they could, but it looks like Hirsch gets the tiebreak first place. And we had 2 players with 4.5, Jonas Rempe and Rishank Pederetti at 4.5. So
What does T Med stand for?
tiebreaker, the median? Basically, the simplest way to explain is it takes the results of your opponent's scores
Uh-huh.
and then throws the highest. Excuse me. Voice is leaving me. Throws the highest and the lowest out. So basically, it looks at strength of schedule and gives credit to the player that defeated the opponents who went on to do well in the tournament. So basically, when you beat someone, you're then rooting for them to win the rest of their games.
Right,
So that you improve your tiebreaker. So that is the 14 and under section. And let's go to the... do we have 12 and under? Not yet. It looks like we're still waiting on 12 and under results. Yeah, still waiting on those. So we'll wait for that when it comes. In the meantime, we're gonna...
In the meantime, everybody who's watching, join the Tuesday night marathon. It's the most,
We're gonna have a 500 player TNM.
yeah.
So we will wait for the 12 and under results when they come, and when they do, we will put them up. But Hirsch Singh, who is 22.53, hangs on and let me transition. Hangs on and takes the tiebreaker. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to Nitish. And Judith in the chat saying 12 and under coming up soon. So we will wait on that. So, and as we wait for the 12 and under, just incredible tournament. Wow, what an event. With this many players, just we imagine all of us working to get to this point where we've reached the conclusion,
And
Just-
now you're there.
now we're here.
Careful, you won't be able to congratulate the the winners, with your voice failing.
Yeah, as you said, it's like cracking and going out. But I also want to give a shout out to you two guys, because thank you for just the commentary. To me, it's so important to bring what we're watching to life in a way that's fun for people to follow, and just your expertise and the commentary, and then the side chats about the chess world as we're covering everything. Just thank you two for just bringing the games to life, like I said, and helping me, because I wouldn't know what I'm looking at, and all I can do is tell you who's playing and tell some stories. So
you have so much to do.
I've heard some pretty astute chess comments from you as well, Abel. So I'm not sure. You're holding back on us.
I get lucky every now and then. And Judith's in the chat singing our praises. So thank you, Judith. We try hard to keep up with what the TD staff does. Let's put it that way. And we're
Another incredible, successful event.
and Merritt's correcting a result, and that's what we're waiting on for the 12 and under. And the 12 and under will be interesting because there were quite a few people that had tied. I think it was 3 players that tied with 5 out of 5. So we'll see how that plays out. And actually, we had 3 players tie for first. That's actually amazing because there were 185 players in the section. So to have
Wow.
3 players only tie with perfect scores, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And 16 and 18 final results are coming soon. And we're looking for that as well. And that's 6 rounds. So a couple of results we are waiting on. But and hopefully we can get Judith and Glenn back on, and whoever else wants to come on. We'll take them, but
Be prepared to be grilled.
well, I mean, I got depends what they want to grill on, but fortunately, I have a chief TD that can handle the questions, and but you know, I think we talked about it, and
No, I was thinking also of Nick, you know, being able to say, how could you play such a move? You know,
there you go.
The old Russian way.
Yeah, why? What?
Instead of the congratulations, like, how come you didn't do this?
Right.
How come you didn't do that? So, and
Yeah, chess tournaments are mini dramas, aren't they? You know, into themselves. They all have their own stories and
Yeah.
and their own little
ebb and
things,
flow, yeah, it's
oddities.
their own. I mean, that's why there's books written on tournaments. It's not because, okay, here's the games, is that the tournaments themselves have a story.
Oh, absolutely.
And Nick, is there any tournament that sort of stands out, not just for the you know, the players themselves, but there was some mood that came along with the games and the players?
Oh, Nick must have millions of those.
Well, I'll mention one. There is San Francisco 1995.
Which you
Jimmy-
wrote a book about with Jimmy.
Yeah, I helped Jim Eade write it. It was really his book.
And that is right
What
here.
was so? Yeah, look at that. Who played in the tournament, Nick?
Portnoy, Hubner, Gulko, Larry Christensen, and I. Of course, Josh Waitkin, Maurice Ashley,
Yeah.
the youngest Polgar, Sophia.
John
it was-
Grief? Did John Grief play in that one?
No,
He played in the earlier one.
not these Pan-Pacific tournaments. Of course, many tournaments before.
You know, Grief played in one of those Pan-Pacific tournaments, right?
Not those.
Okay. Not that one.
And still waiting on the results. Pan Pacific, Grandmaster Patrick Wolf played one.
Oh, that's right. The one that Patrick Wolf played in.
The one where you got your cigarette lit.
By
Afterwards.
former world champion Mikhail Tal.
Another, a different one.
All right. Is that Jitin? How's it going? We can't hear you. There you go. How's it going? So one of the TDs, Jitin Patel. Let me.
It's like It's G10. So like the
G10.
letter G,
And
the
then
number 10.
Number 10,
it's where you put your king when you want to resign.
which is your email address reflects that too, right? So as I'm fixing this, how was the tournament? What was it like being in sort of the back room area?
It was fine. Not the first time I've done a national tournament, but this one was way different. And every one that I go to, they're just all so well done. So credit to the Mechanics Institute and Chess Weekend and all the wonderful TDs and staff that were part of it. It didn't take just one, it took everybody, but wanted to pick the better staff.
Yeah, it's good people to work with, and I got to do some corrections here, so bear with me. But one of the challenges, certainly, of working it is having so many kids in the Zoom room. What's that like? Because there has to be some times where you're watching them, but you're trying to entertain them as well, and what are the kids doing during the in-between rounds? Are any of them hanging out there in the Zoom?
Most of them, we tell them to turn off their cameras and they do that. Some of them leave it on, but and then some of them just leave the Zoom. So it just depends on that, really.
And like what they want to do, because I've seen, I think Danny Rode in his Zoom room. I mean, I'm imagining he's like interacting with the kids, and I know during one of the rounds he was like telling everyone to log in and follow the broadcast after their games were done. So
And anything to make it more interactive, I agree. And I mean, the important thing is, I mean, yes, we're all in the authority here, but we want to stress the fact that the tournament director is your friend in most of these cases. So
yeah, and that's important. And one of the other benefits is how often, especially at the start, because you know a lot of the kids may not be familiar with how the process works. I mean, the tournament directors are even guiding the parents in what they need to do, and helping their kids and supporting their kids in you know what they need to do between rounds and during the game. How much of that education was sort of part of your job, at least even in the beginning of the rounds?
it definitely gets easier as the tournament progresses. Just like an over the board tournament, the first round is and will be chaotic. And a lot of it is just you're herding chickens for the most part. And I don't think doing it online is any different. So it's just trying to stay calm, just trying to relax yourself and make sure that the ultimate goal is to provide a good experience for everyone involved.
There and
Herding chickens, I like that.
I'm following Judith's orders. She's ordering me to take out the board, which I'm going to do right now. And let's see if we can get people in on to talk about everything. We're waiting on Judith and Glenn and C. We're waiting on results. Do we have the 12? Not yet. Still waiting. In no rush. Do what you TDs have to do.
Are we still going to have that guest coming on at the end?
No, that's not going to work out. But we do have the results for the 16 and 18 and under. So let me do that. And we have someone else join. We have the doctor. I think the doctor is in the house.
The doctor is in the house.
Yep.
The doctor is in.
I'm fixing it because I actually had to. There you go. I had to reboot my computer. My computer was so slow and everything. So
I think we should probably just do one one group Zoom.
Oh, Martha is here too. Yeah, we decided to have the TD social here live broadcasting to everyone, right?
So
Apparently that's what you were telling Glenn.
it's not just it's not the chess social. It's the TD social.
TD social, yeah.
Well, let me do
exactly.
that. Let's make that. Let's do TD social. I'm actually opening a window that's I'm calling it TD social. So let me get all of that ready to go. Oh, there we go. I love it. Here we go. And then we got Martha Underwood. That is awesome. Yeah, this whole thing is basically going to be occupied by all of you guys. And
Well, we can take over the boards now, right? Games are done.
yep, it's
We can
done.
monopolize the boards. Yeah.
Let's
But
just do
you
this.
guys were
We-
fantastic covering the games. I really enjoyed speaking into the broadcast and listening. There's so many interesting games. I so much, right?
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun, and it was fun watching the kids because you start getting a sense of their personalities as they play, and you know there were some crazy games. But it was funny, like in the last round, everyone got serious. They were playing slow and calculated when you know everything was on the line. So that was kind of fun. And yeah. Hey Martha, how's it going?
So Martha was our section chief yesterday and today. I got to work with her. She was the section chief in the 8 and under yesterday and today with the 12 and under. So we had, I think, the largest sections, right, Martha?
We did, and it's
She's amazing.
exponential. I believe it's exponential after 100. I just think 100 is manageable, even with 2 TDs, but over 100, it just gets hard.
And I was asking G10 about it, but what do the TDs bring their personalities and how they manage the kids? Because you know, I'm imagining Danny Rode was kind of like you know, like a high school basketball coach, just you know, chatting and interacting and pumping them up, and then you know, another TD
Well,
style maybe a little more.
I would say usually I'm a little bit like that, but I have to say today was a darker side of me.
And why is that?
The room was just misbehaving a lot, so it needed a lot of intervention, shall we say,
Some
and reminders to check the website and things like that. Things that are under 8-year-olds did perfectly yesterday.
so
Yeah, I always say
I've chalked it up to puberty. So we had the 12 and under room, and it was just crazy.
and I think we got spoiled yesterday. We had the 8 and under,
It
and
was so
everyone was so great. Like kids were behaving. Second round, I had 3 games to start, and everyone was on live chess, right? Even adults can do that, right? Tuesday night marathon, I had a few games that I have to restart. Everyone was online yesterday. Second round, all the games started with one try. So I think we got spoiled yesterday, Martha, right?
And Martha, you're getting props in the Twitch chat. Some Super Ninja 1039 is saying TD Martha is the best TD for sure.
Oh my.
So-
Well, I actually today, Judith and G10 saw a sterner side of me. I'm usually not that. I'm pretty.
no, that's good. You gotta let them know. You gotta let them know.
Well, we just kept having didn't G10 back me up here? You just kept having to rein them in, you know.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
And,
A lot
and
of-
It did get better as the tournament went on. There's something of that,
And
but
I love them all, but for some reason, today was a tricky one.
you know, and normally, you know, if you're a school teacher or principal, or you're gonna send them to the principal's office or something. And so, did you guys have to threaten to send people to a breakout room to have a conversation or something?
We did take them to break out a couple times.
Or threaten to mute all. So we have the results of the 16 and 18 and
Yep.
under, and let me throw those up there. And surprisingly enough, I don't have. Let me open that Google Doc, and there we go. And
Wow. It's really amazing to see the spread of the state representing. Like the first 5 states is different, and then we have 4 California. It's really funny.
And we actually made a point of that. I went through some state. We had like 15 states we were going over, and here's the 16 and 18 and under, and Terry Luo with that final round win over Elijah Platnick takes first place on tie breaks over
Nice.
Brajesh Chakrabarty. Congratulations to both players finishing 5.5 out of 6. But Terry getting it done against the lone perfect score in the final round gave him a good enough tiebreak to take first place. So congratulations to both players, but to Terry taking first on the tiebreak. Elijah Platnick takes third place. Tough final round loss, but his tiebreakers were still the best to get him third. We had 4 players, it looks like, tied with 5, including Kevin Zhu, Ryan Chung, and Aridande Dodd. So congratulations to all those players, the 16 and 18 and under section. Hard fought in the final round.
And shout out to Sheena Zhang, who had the best name. It's Stunning Garbage.
Stunning Garbage, the best screen name of the weekend for sure. And we're joined by Reika Starry. How's it going?
Good.
Good. She's tired. She needs some dinner or something.
It's been a long day, but
Long
it was
day
fun.
and a long weekend. And is Reika known as kind of one of the more disciplinarian TDs, keeping the kids in check? Or is she sort of loose and fun with the kids? How would you
Yeah, I
describe
think-
yourself?
I don't think I'm that disciplinarian.
Oh, no?
I think I've only snapped at a kid once, and that was a while ago. So
Okay. Snapped. It's
Martha,
tough.
where are you, Martha?
Arizona, Tucson, Arizona.
And G10?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
And that's also really wonderful to do these online events. I mean, yes, we hate pandemic. We can't wait to go back to over the board. But whenever I wanted to work with Martha, she had to fly here. We had to fly to St. Louis, right? Things like that. And so we don't see each other often. We don't work together often, once a year. But now we can, and that's really good. And Jiten, same here. I met Jiten last year at the U.S. Amateur Team North, and we worked how many events? 2-3 events since then online. So it was really cool.
It gives people opportunities in both ways. I mean, they're like I was thinking about the amateur tournaments where somebody could have potentially played in all 4 of them, and that would have been
And
nice.
and a player did actually. One of the players that tied for first in the 14 and under, I'm pretty sure Nitish Nathan had a team where they played all 4 amateur Wests. All the amateur tournaments. Which is
Incredible.
pretty incredible.
That would have been impossible before the pandemic, right?
I was saying they should write something for Chess Life. I think that would be an interesting article of that experience.
Yeah, so this top section, they were pretty strong. They had to do 2 cameras, so both front and side view. And we actually went so far as I sent all the games to Ken Regan overnight. So he did a double check for the first 3 rounds, gave us back the results. So we went into this day knowing, the fair play, or there were no fair play yesterday, at least initially. And so
Yesterday.
it was a really good reassurance, and we can't thank Ken enough. I think he's actually in Poland right now. I don't know if virtually or not, but I took his word that he's in Poland right now.
I think it's for real from what it
Yeah,
seemed like.
so he did that for us. Probably it was morning time, his time. So it was a really good reassurance. And tonight, when I finish dinner, I'm gonna gather all the other games from today and send it to him, and hopefully we can finish up the fair play.
You're gonna waste time eating dinner?
Yeah, I'm gonna waste time using dinner. And we are joined by
Hey,
John McComsky.
hey, John.
Hey there.
He was our backroom TD for the 16 and 18 section both days, and you had one or two one-day sections each day, right?
I had a 2-day section and a 1-day section both days.
Yeah.
And
And my
how was it going between the 2-day and the 1-day, and didn't get confused uploading something somewhere it was the wrong section?
No, there was enough time between the rounds that it made it easy enough to do. Not that it's easy per se, but you weren't sitting there doing the panic in the last 5 minutes trying to get everything done. The schedule worked out very, very nicely.
So you're used to having, when you're doing the large events, something akin to a shower curtain, so that you could be left to your own devices and get done what you need to get done. But you pretty much have that now, sitting at home.
Yeah, I do. This does make it very, very much like having that little room in the middle of the convention center floor or something like that.
And what was it like for you doing an event? Because you've done other large online events with us. This one, you had to team up and sort of divide up the work, but it's still large. It's still like a lot of stuff. What's the double checking and the quality control?
Not very supposed to just that way.
Well, it took me a couple of rounds to figure out a way to do the quality control so there weren't that many mistakes. But eventually what I ended up doing was being able to print out a copy of the sheet that came off of the Google Drive or the Google Sheet, compare it to my notes in a way where the forms actually kind of fit together, and then use my notes to input, and then print that out and double check my notes to what I input to make sure it was correct. So I created a double check system.
And kudos to all of you for doing all the double checks just to make sure everything is right. And here we have the tentative results for the 12 and under section. We did have 3 players tie with 5 out of 5, and congrats to Excel swimmer Matthew Gao, who takes it on the 3rd tie break, because they were tied after the first 2 tie breaks over Sean Kelly, Slow Cynical Quip, who plays some of the mechanics events. And then 3rd place, Darren Goktepe, DG Wizard, takes 3rd on the tiebreak. So congrats to those 3 players, and to Matthew for taking 1st, and Carlos Varela,
Only 4.5 points?
out of almost 200 players.
That's incredible.
And then he'll argue should have been 5.
Yeah, and it should have been, but anyway. And here we have Marat came on the Zoom call.
Hey.
Marat was the backroom chief. She was in charge of the bigger one-day sections, both yesterday and today, right?
Yep.
And Marat's like the oracle. Like, she's running the back room, running the computer, making all the changes, making everything happen. And you're wondering, there's somebody out there doing this, and who is that? And there she is, right there.
It's me and John. And actually, just as I came on the Zoom, John was talking about his checking system, and I used exactly the same one, and it worked like a charm. So, yeah.
And thank you both for all you did. I mean, it's a ton of work just making sure everything is right and doing the double checks. And I know some things got caught and fixed. And I can't imagine, the rounds ran pretty much on time all the way through. Results updated, pairings made. We try to bring the games to life during the broadcast, but as far as start to finish over 2 days with 900 players and side events and everything. Thank you guys for all you do, all the TDs. Merritt and John doing the computer. Glenn is the chief TD, but we've been trying to sing your praises as much as we can on the broadcast. But fantastic, phenomenal job. Thank you all for everything you do. I know it's a lot of work and tiring.
Well, we had a pretty good field. Everybody. I loved how everybody came to all the training sessions, so that they would know what to do, and asked a lot of questions. And a lot of people just came right in and sat right down and got to business. So
and
good for the players,
Yeah, and it, nothing but all stars in terms of the TD staff and that we had, and we got great response from the parents. Judah was telling me, even the kids were really cooperative and receptive, and had fun, and we had some fair play issues in the second day, but even those were dealt with pretty swiftly and quickly, and in an event of this size, I mean, that's pretty impressive. It says a lot in terms of us being.
Yeah, and that was kind of expected. Like, we knew that a 6-year-old probably less likely going to cheat, so we kind of expected that the older ones, they don't want to risk their career, right? They know that they are risking. The really young ones, they basically don't know how to do it. Hopefully yet. Right, so we knew that today will be the tougher day, so I think we kind of expected that.
Yeah, we were joking on the broadcast yesterday. We were following the 6 and under section that some of these kids learn their ABCs and then they learn to checkmate the next day, much less use how to use a chess engine to find the best move. But
so Glenn said that they're dealing with an issue, and Danny, Tom, Sam, and Glenn will be here in a minute. So
fantastic. Yeah, let's fit everyone in the screen, and just so the few people that are left, if you want to see the whole team, and even for the broadcast, it's nice to have this for posterity, because fantastic teamwork, and it's nice to have everyone involved.
Yeah, and let's give kudos to those who worked yesterday, because yesterday I think we had a good 50% more kids than today. And so we had a few more staff who only worked yesterday. Pretty sure a lot of you guys know. We had Christina Schweitz from Virginia. We had Al Lossoff from Las Vegas. And go to the National Open, guys. Over the board event, finally. And we had Eric and Marat. We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I turned my volume down. Sorry, Serwin.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. And he's a high school teacher, as John is, from Illinois, and I believe he's responsible for the amazing Illinois high school championship session. That's like 1,200 kids. Amazing. I don't know how he does it. And we had Allison is not here. She actually worked both days. Allison Wong, she's our amazing volunteer. So thank you so much, Allison. Your help is amazing, and we can't say enough good things about you. It won't do justice. And we had Jared from Reka's class. Reka trained him, and they are really good. He will be a really good TD in the future, and he's just starting out his career. So, am I missing someone?
We had Jonathan Martinez.
Jonathan Martinez, and thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan jumped in, I think Friday afternoon, said yes. So thank you, Jonathan. And he's the son of Michelle Martinez, and we all love Michelle because she serves us with Chess Kid stuff. So yeah. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything. If I do, then others will help me. So.
And the fair play review process, anyone might be watching, would you say take about a week's time, and then
Yeah, so guys, just know that basically what we do is we download each game from chess.com. Now, again, a big kudos to Nathan Fong. He's a Berkeley undergrad, or maybe he also already graduated, but he wrote an amazing script for us, and it actually automates it. So I don't have to hand download 2,000 games. Thank God. And so I downloaded everything last night, yesterday, and I'm going to do the same today. And we'll send everything to Ken Regan. And Ken will bring back an initial report. And then Marat, Glenn, Abel, and I will put our heads together and make sense of those numbers. And we'll start investigating those games and those players who will need to. We have a few Grandmaster friends across the country who were playing in US championships before and everything. And we have our own Grandmaster in residence, Nick DeFermian. And these Grandmasters can provide us independent reviews. And then together with that, we'll make our decisions. Obviously, we do take account chess.com's evaluations and whether they have closed their account or not, but they act independently from us. So if they close the account, that's a good reassurance for us, but we don't necessarily deem someone for fair play violation just because they closed it, although that's a pretty good indicator, and vice versa. Just because we say that might not necessarily mean that chess.com will close the account. So we are independent from them.
And
Yep.
no, sorry.
No, and then I think after we finalize it, we'll send it in for rating, and that's when the results become official.
So the results are going to be posted. They're tentative, pending that fair play review. But when we do have the final results, the award process is kind of fun for those that won awards because...
Mara, do you want to tell people about the awards? How we came up with the awards? You were pretty involved with that.
Some personalization as part of it.
You're muted. She's muted.
Uh-oh.
There's muted.
Mabel, maybe you can ask her to unmute, but while she's getting her voice, so we are using Trophies Plus. They are our best friends in trophy business. They have been an amazing provider for us, and so we worked with them, developed our award series. We will give plaques to the top 10 players, and then I have to look up because Marat actually was working, adding more awards for you guys. So it's because of Marat that you're getting more awards.
Okay, I'm back.
There she
Yes,
is. You
okay.
can take
So
over.
I decided, in a previous life, I was a graphic designer. So I decided we needed to be just like the other nationals and have our own logo. So we ended up with a logo. And we planned on awards for, let's say a field of 400 or 500 players. And as we were going on, I kept saying, we've got more players, we need more awards. So we added some more. And it just kind of expanded from there. And then Glenn had the idea of getting them personalized so that, since we're not in a situation where people win 1 hour and then they're getting their plaque the next hour, we're shipping these out. We have to make them anyway. We might as well wait a little bit longer to ship them out and actually get your names on them. So people are going to be getting plaques with their names on them, which I think is really cool. Make sure that your name was spelled right on the tournament record so that your plaque is spelled right when it gets to you. So
that's a nice little special touch, especially for an event like this. So when the results are final, you get it not only sent to you at no cost to you, but then you have your name on it as a personal memento of the event. And then the other part was adding some under prizes for some of the sections, because one of the things that did come up, which is expected and always does in an event like this, where it's an age level section, is that you could have someone very, very strong playing, someone that's, very, very low, because it's not divided by skill level per se, but by their age. So it was kind of a nice touch to add some under prizes within the section, which made a great incentive for those players that are lower rated to still compete for something. And I think the players and the parents appreciated that part too.
Yeah, and the awards will be shipped directly from Trophies Plus, so that will probably speed up the process a little bit. So they don't have to ship it here to California or Illinois, but directly from Trophies Plus, and they always do a good job with that. So hopefully that's good. So I'm trying to, they are coming. Hopefully, if I can believe Danny.
They're on their way. Those are the famous last words. We're on our way.
Yeah. So
amazing to get through an event like this. What's the next event for Chess Weekend? Do you have something in the works? Not including the National Open.
On the Twitch feed.
Yep. We have,
So we have joining us from New York, Danny Rode. How's it going?
How is everyone doing?
I think we're all tired.
It's been a long day.
We're on fumes. Hey, I got to give you your props, man, because all of a sudden on a Twitch broadcast yesterday, we had a big spike in viewers, and it was because Danny was telling all the kids to jump on twitch.tv/mechanicschess and check it out. So appreciate that.
Yeah, we actually shared the screen in the Zoom call for the under 6 section because we had a round that ended early. So we threw a screen share up so that all the kids could watch the stream.
That's pretty
I think Sunil was on. I think Sunil was on at the time, and John Donaldson was on at the time.
Oh yeah, that was perfect. Because
so quickly. They finished in like 25-30 minutes. So I think I shared it on my computer, and they had an absolute hoot with it. So
that was pretty funny, especially Sunil, because man, that guy is like action when he's doing commentary. He's like screaming out the moves and like whoa, it's like you're watching a football game or a soccer match. And then Tom Brownskoll and Sam. How's it going?
Yes, Sam and Tom.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's like let's.
No, that's fine. That's because you're using my Zoom account, because that's what you had for the 16 and 18 and under, and you did your job logging in and starting the meeting, so you're the host. And we have Chief TD Glenn Penner, so you guys work overtime.
And Glenn, before we hear from you, I just wanted to say one of the cool things here is that the broadcast lives for posterity. It's going to get archived in YouTube, and to me, it's kind of a special thing. Just to have the team on as part of the broadcast, because it was an amazing job by everyone, a team effort, and thank you to you. Being the chief TD, you had your work cut out for sure today, but handled everything like a pro, and just thank you.
Well, it was so much fun, and we had such a great staff that made it really easy. I was just coming on the stream because I heard this is where the party was and this is where the beverages were. But I'm glad to be here, and it was really great, and it was due to a lot of hard work by a lot of different people.
Like, did you imagine in your head when you thought, okay, because even 2.5 weeks before the event, I think we were talking like, maybe we'll be lucky we get to 400, and maybe there's a small chance maybe we can get to 500, and then all of a sudden things started blowing up to 6, 7, and then 8. And was there any part of you that was saying, all right, I'm the chief TD of this thing, but it's sort of growing out of control?
That's a really nice problem to have.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, this is, I think, the largest one I've organized. In terms of serving as a chief TD, I've done a couple there about twice this size. So I wasn't worried about the directing, and I wasn't worried about the organization because, like I said, we had such a great team, and I said earlier in the chat, it was a very young team too. We really were zipping around and answering information as quick as we could. So far, what I've seen is a lot of compliments, and I think you know, all in all, I'd give us a really high grade for our performance.
And probably the only real thing to worry about are the things that you don't know what to worry about, right? The things that you don't expect and don't see. Did any of that play out, or you know, things are pretty much came that you've seen before? Any surprises, especially
There's
the online?
there's always surprises, but if you've done all the work up front, you have enough time, you have enough resources to compensate for things going wrong or surprises. I mean, Judith is excellent with that. And our team was able to just kind of roll with it when there were surprises.
And
I mean, most of my job, I think, this weekend was patrolling for fair play.
And you certainly did that, and it seemed like you did it very well. And I have a question because the way we organize this event, the tournament directors and the organizers have a lot more control over the event because we're using chess.com as a platform, but starting the games ourselves. For all the game starters, Sam and everyone else, and Reika, what was it like, the volume of games that you had to start? And what was that like? Was it frantic? And you know, I know the hard part's usually the first round of each day, as everyone's learning what they need to do to be on chess.com live and so forth. But you know, that's a lot of games you're starting. Was that crazy, or was it all smooth? How about
That part was pretty good. I had quite a few. I think I had like 50, 60 games, and I think other than the fact that by the 60th game it gets a little bit repetitive and hand cramps and such, but it went very smoothly. I didn't have any issues with it. The first round is always hardest because a lot of people who forgot about the tournament and didn't show up. But then once you remove them, it's pretty much smooth sailing.
And what about you, Sam? You had quite a few games to start and for the sections you were covering.
Yeah, so I think the first day I had between 90 and 100 games around, and then the second time I had more like 40. And it's always a little frantic because it's all about speed. It's all about how quickly can you get all the players playing. And it's almost a rush even, and just getting through them all and kind of being proud of it. It's a rush.
And then you just get in the moment, and it becomes you know, rhythm. The hardest part is trying to track down those players that aren't there initially, but you benefit from having the Zoom. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to point out that every tournament we are learning something new. Like we've done this 100 times, right? But so I thought that, okay, we have it nailed down. I learned something new this weekend about what's the best practice for a larger event. And then Danny had a really great suggestion of, oh, let's build a batch follow command. And I knew it existed, but we never had to use it. But once I built it, that made life easier for the assistant TDs who were collecting the game links, which we need for fair play, and collecting the results. So I think it shows that we have a really great teamwork, and that no TD should ever stop learning and improving with every single tournament, because it's a hard job.
And
That's really a great point, Judith.
And Abel,
And
I
that's
can
something-
totally agree with that. As somebody who's been, you know, organizing some other tournaments and co-organizing and been a part of a lot of online events, you learn from your staff, you learn from, you know, the event, you learn from everything that goes on during the weekend. Even if you have a postponed event or something goes wrong or crisis management or anything of the sort, if you can communicate and if you can solve every problem on the fly, we're all flight attendants. We're all here to make sure the players have a good time. right? And however it is that you do that and the players will go home happy. And that's the number one thing right now, to get these events off the ground, because some of these kids, they haven't played. I mean, I was getting comments, this is my first online rated event. I was getting comments like that from players. And it's like, wow, a year and you haven't played in any USCF rated event. I mean, that is hard to fathom. And, every event, that is a chance for players to get themselves back and getting back into rated chess. And that's what it's all about.
And Danny, you got another big event coming up almost back to back with the New York State Championship. Is that right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, the state championship for New York, which was originally supposed to be in March, and then it was postponed as there were some issues that were causing that to happen. We did reschedule it for next weekend. We have 1,000 players already registered, give or take, and the event is actually open. So if you are outside of New York, you are free to play. You can come in and play against the best that New York State in terms of scholastics has to offer, and come take your challenge. It is a 2-day event for all players though. Oh, wow. So keep that in mind. And it's a longer time control also. It's a game 60 instead of game 15 and game 25. It's on the same
platform as the National Scholastic will be. So you should probably, it's a good option to practice on the platform, right?
It's actually that event, and also Tom is organizing an event on ICC next weekend as well. Oh. Those two events are the last two practice, so to speak, events prior to the NOSC qualifying for the first weekend at the end of the month.
And Tom's event is Nevada, right? Tell us about your event.
Yes, my event is a closed event only for residents of Nevada. So anybody outside the state of Nevada who's a Scholastic player, who's looking to practice for the National Online Scholastic Championship, which is in 2 weeks. I mean, you're talking about New York's going to be very big, no doubt about it. Probably the National Online Scholastic is going to be even bigger. If you're looking to practice for that, then you definitely want the New York State Scholastic next weekend, because the Nevada State Scholastic is only open to Nevada residents.
Yeah, so Tom, you going to be at the National Open?
Oh, absolutely, I'm going to be at the National Open. No question about that. We thought that we were going to be reintroducing live chess, but then we found out that the Continental Chess Association is also reintroducing live chess even faster than we are. But we're thrilled that we're going to be holding the National Open live again in June in Las Vegas in the Westgate, where it's been for the past several months. And we think we're going to have a really big event. We think that there are a lot of people who want to get back to playing chess in person. And the entire state of Nevada, it feels like to me as a chess player, is gearing up for this, because like many other states, the state of Nevada is really pushing hard to get people vaccinated. Vaccination in the state of Nevada has opened up for everyone on April 4th. I immediately went there. In the facility I was at, they were vaccinating, I'm told, 3,000 people a day. It's just really amazing how many people are getting vaccinated in Nevada. And we expect to have most of the state vaccinated, and we expect to have a big National Open here in Las Vegas in June.
I was talking to Glenn when he was on earlier that sort of the mood in the chess community is that they're seeing the National Open as like the symbol of live chess returning on like a large level. And I think it's going to play out like that. I think people are looking at that event as like the celebration event of sort of we're back type of feeling.
We have over 200 people signed up, 210 as of earlier today. And we've only had registration open for about 2 weeks. So I think we're gonna have really good numbers, or that's what we're hoping at least.
That's fantastic. Anything else from anyone before we sign it off?
Well, I got on here late, but did you get a chance to meet everyone here? Did you You know, I think we have 7 different states represented just on this on this feed right now.
Let's go
And-
across the like Brady Bunch style. Let's go across the quadrants. So we
And
got
you know, it's neat. Some of us have worked together before at nationals and have been friends for years. Others haven't met, but it's really I think a testament to how well a job we did of grabbing the best TDs from all over the place, and the most fun people, of course.
gotta throw that in. So yeah, no, it's just a pleasure to have everyone. It's just it enhances a tournament feel and experience when good people are a part of it, and you know, you can laugh and joke, but then get the work done on a high level. So and it kind of felt like that throughout the weekend and throughout all the preparation leading up to it, and yeah, it was just fantastic. It was a great experience, and I'm glad we all came on and are a part of it, because yeah, it was a big deal and a big tournament, and it felt like a success and felt like a win. I think all the parents and players felt that also, by far for the most part. And you know, this is the team that helped make it happen. So I'm glad everyone stopped by and joined.
G10, why don't you start us off? Introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is G10, and some of you heard this before, but it's the letter G, the number 10. It's where you put your king when you want to resign. And I'm from Minnesota.
And then how about Nick?
Hi, Nick DeFermian, the Grandmaster in Residence at the Mechanics Institute.
And Abel Talamantes. I'm the chess director at the Mechanics Institute, San Francisco. Paul.
I'm Paul Whitehead, FIDE master and chess room coordinator is my title at the Mechanics Institute. And I played in one national open once a long time ago.
I played in one also.
I think it was 1981.
Come back.
I was 13 at the time.
You should come back.
I'm thinking
It
of
will
it.
be. I'm confident it will be a great event, and you should definitely come back to the national open.
I'm thinking
we
of
feel
it.
like it's a special tournament. We try to do the National Open as not just a chess tournament, but a chess festival. We really try to do something fun, and everybody should come.
I think you're next, Judith.
I'm Judith. I'm the event manager at Mechanics.
There,
Yes.
everyone knows Judith though already. Needs no introduction.
Yeah.
And
Okay, next up is Martha, and everyone can call the next person.
So I'm Martha Underwood from Tucson, Arizona. Originally from New York, though I still consider myself a New Yorker. I'm here in the desert. Happy to be part of the team. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you.
I'm originally a New Yorker too, from a long time ago.
And all of you managed to move away. What's wrong with everyone? I'm the only one who sticks it out in New York City. Come on.
I don't know. Even you left for a while, didn't you, Danny?
I went to Michigan for 4 years, yes.
And did you live in Vegas at all too, or no?
Not full time, no.
So Danny Rhodes, he's from New York, and he's on the Scholastic Council with me.
that was his introduction.
And the Scholastic representative of New York State and things like that, right?
Yeah, and I think some people might have known me since I was a kid. I'm sure Nick has known me since I was a baby, and then we have all these other things that come into play. Chess royalty or chess legacy, I would say, as well.
Yeah.
Sam?
The Prince of New York.
Oh,
please.
Sam.
I'm Sam, and I'm from Maryland.
And you're the youngest national TD, or you were the youngest national TD, right?
Last time I checked, I'm still holding on to
Still the
that.
youngest national TD. So everyone, we have the youngest national TD on the staff, and Martha is one of the few female national TDs along with Marat on the staff. So we are
Martha's also one of the youngest national TDs.
I think if my math is
Important
correct,
to
I
be young
think
at
half our
first.
staff are NPs
How
this
about
weekend.
Reka? You go next.
I was hoping to be the youngest national TD, but then COVID. So, I'm Reka. I'm known professionally as Judith's daughter. Hi. I'm a senior, hopefully getting there to national.
And what about John?
John McComiskey. I am originally from New York. I didn't have any choice though, Danny. My parents made me leave. So, and teach high school social science here in California. Keeps me out of trouble most of the time, along with working chess tournaments.
And how about Tom?
Tom Brownscombe, international arbiter, FIDE master, former USCF Scholastic and Technical Director, former USCF Scholastic Council co-chair, formerly from Maryland, formerly from New York, currently living in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Wow. And last but not least, the chief.
Glenn Panner from the Chicago area. I've been here. I haven't felt the need to leave, so I'm proud to be a Chicagoan. And you'll all have to come out here sometime, as I offered the invitation earlier to Abel and Paul. But everyone's welcome. And national tournament director, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of this. And working with mechanics is so great. I am looking forward to my first visit to mechanics. I haven't done that, and that's right at the top of my chess bucket list.
It should be. We got a beautiful chess room, historic chess room, and a lot of good restaurants nearby. So it'll be a good experience.
Ghirardelli's, that's the most important part.
By the way, a New York thing that's interesting, the Marshall Chess Club is planning to open, I believe, within the next week. So
That's
clubs
right.
are opening up. And it's opening first, actually, to vaccinated members. So
And that's on my bucket list to visit the Marshall. I've never been
I
there.
haven't been there either. Got to get over there, do a field trip. So that's the team. That's everyone. And that is a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of the tournament. And for those of you that have stuck it out, thank you for watching. The broadcast of both days, we're going to put it up on YouTube probably tonight, and then we'll put it on a link on a Facebook post tomorrow where we're going to brag about everything, and look out for that. And signing off. And thank you for watching the 2021 U.S. Junior Chess Congress, and have a great rest of the evening, everyone. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.